Hello, and welcome back to One World Sports Radio. Gorilla says commentary of the first test in Karachi, third day, second session. My name is Mpho Mukrani, and I'm joined by Ken Borland, who'll be taking us through the ball by ball. We're all set to go after lunch with the first ball to be bowled.
Yeah, and interestingly, it's Yasir Shah, the leg spinner, and surely the danger man, who will get us underway in the second session. South Africa resuming on 37 without loss, still trailing by 121 runs, with Aiden Markram on 16 not out and Dean Elgar on 18 not out. So a really big session awaiting the Proteas here, as Yasir Shah comes in to bowl the first ball. And it's overpitched. Markram driving down the ground, doesn't really get hold of it there, and it dribbles to mid-on for no run.
And in that, I will take myself off the stream and allow you and Otto to carry on while we wait for Simon.
Hello there, Otto. As Yasir Shah bowls his second ball after lunch, settles on a nice length, and Markram pushes forward defensively, no run.
Yeah, I'm glad to see we got through to lunch without a wicket.
Absolutely, especially after that terrible first hour of the day, Otto. As Yasir Shah comes in for his third delivery, nicely flighted again, and Markram again prods forward and plays it down the pitch to the bowler. No run, 37 without loss, South Africa.
Yeah, so let's see if they can survive Yasir Shah, and let's see what kind of bounce and turn Yasir can get out of this pitch. He must be feeling quite confident after his little sting in the tail cameo appearance for Pakistan, piling the hurt onto South Africa.
Quicker and flatter from Yasir, and Markram goes back and defends, no run. Yasir in again, slightly more on the offside this time, and Markram again lunges forward to defend solidly, and no run there.
So it looks like Yasir's got a little bit more to work with to the left-hander. I'll be interested to see what Elgar does. He's got a look in and a very short square leg.
As Markram this time goes back and punches Yasir back down the wicket, fielded by the bowler, no run, and that's the end of the first over after lunch. A maiden over from Yasir Shah, his first over in the second innings. South Africa 37 without loss. Yeah, quite right, Otto. The foot marks outside the off stump, the big danger. How do you think Dean Elgar is going to go about handling that threat?
Well, he's got to either smother the turn and try and get forward, but I think if Yasir Shah gets his lengths right in that in-between where the batsman isn't sure whether to go forward or back, Elgar is going to have to watch the ball extremely carefully. Hopefully he can pick the spin out of the hand, which is not an easy thing to do, but these guys are top batsmen, so they might they might be able to actually do that. I know that it's something that the batters often talk about, that they try and see what the ball is going to do while it's coming towards them through the air, which I find quite remarkable. Every time I hear a batsman talk about it, I think to myself, geez, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, it is quite humbling, I think, when you realise just the sort of skills involved at this elite level. It looks like Shaheen Shah Afridi, the left-arm paceman, will be opening the bowling after lunch for Pakistan from the pavilion end. He's bowled 4 overs for 10 runs so far. Dean Elgar will be on strike. Elgar on 18, not out.
Another wide slip position there. What would normally be a second or a third slip and a gully. Man at square leg behind square.
As Afridi comes in, bullish of length, and Elgar pushes forward and drives it out to mid-off. There's no run there, 37 without loss. And interesting short cover.
I think I'm just about on the same page as you are in terms of the deliveries. And then I've got a gully as well. A man at point right at the edge of the square. The square is quite wide on the offside here for the left-hander. There's about 6-7 pitches in between Dean Algar and the man at point, and then they've got a mid on there as well. Get some more fielding positions for you here.
Afridi in again, angled into the left-hander from a good length, and Algar just defends to mid-off. Short cover seemed to be in for the first ball of that over, but has now gone back.
So, Algar and Markram trying to blunt the attack here. They are not scoring at any remarkable rate, but that doesn't matter at this point in time. The wickets column is what's important for South Africa. There's lots of time left in the day.
Afridi now with a short delivery. Some decent bounce there, and Algar just sways out of the way of the delivery, which was outside off stump.
Yeah, he's not interested in that at all. Nice length there for the bouncer, but too wide to trouble Algar. And so this is good stuff from Markram and Algar at in this situation in the game. This is one of those scenarios where you would look at the scorecard and think, geez, these guys are wasting deliveries, but that's the whole point. They are blunting the attack, getting rid of the new ball. So good job so far by these two.
Make that ball soft, yeah. That's a lovely shot by Dean Algar. Afridi slightly outside off stump again, and Algar just punches it, hanging back in the crease through the covers for 4. First runs after lunch, and it's a lovely boundary. 41 without loss now as Algar goes to 22.
Yeah, that was an excellent shot by Dean Algar. A little bit wide there by Afridi. Starting that line a bit too wide. To the left-hander, and a nice punch drive there by Algar through extra cover. Excellent shot. 6-4 so far in the South African innings, 41 without loss.
Ooh, and that's a nasty delivery from Shaheen Afridi. Back of a length, really reared up at Algar, who got into a bit of a tangle. He's managed to survive, though, off the arm or possibly the glove, and it looped out on the leg side, but there were no fielders catching. Algar looks like he's taken a nasty blow to the hand. He's down on his haunches, waiting for the physio.
He's looking at his left hand. So that's his bottom hand as the left-handed batter. Physio coming, running onto the field there with the 12th man carrying some drinks for the batters. They'll no doubt have to spray some magic spray there. It doesn't look like there's any visible wound there. So just let's have a look here at the replay. Excellent bouncer, well directed. Struck him on the bottom hand. Let's see exactly where it struck him here. Just with the leading palm of his left hand. So side on, just below his pinky finger, where there's no cushioning on the gloves. It's just side on. The glove doesn't have any protection at all, so they've got an ice pack on his hand. That's just that spot where there's no cushioning, where you would be holding the bat as his hand came halfway off the bat there. It struck him flush on the palm. So that looks like it's just going to hurt a little bit. Hopefully nothing is broken inside there. No doubt they'll let him try and move his hand, and that ball bounced about 1.5 meters short of the man at the wicket, running towards square leg. Now we can see close up here. It looks like it might have struck him on the first knuckle there of his pinky, his little finger, and looks like it's already a little bit swollen. I couldn't see quite clearly there, but magic spray going on now. Let's see if he's moving his finger.
That's the surprising thing about that delivery. We saw Algar get hit on the ear before lunch by Hassan Ali, and Shaheen Shah Afridi, obviously of much greater pace than Hassan Ali, and that really reared up from really back of a length, not really short.
So now we're looking at some highlights here of Dean's first innings. Excellent innings. I was chastised by the people listening to us this morning. People saying that I was too harsh on Algar for the way he lost his wicket. So good job done by him in the first innings. I still think he could have stuck around a little bit longer, but he did the job well for his team, and was let down a little bit by the rest of the top order. So let's see if they can make amends here. South Africa need to step up their game to another level to match that of Pakistan, and to set them a score now. A real moving day 3 here for this test match. He's got his glove back on, so that's a good sign. So it doesn't look like he's broken anything, but he almost lost his wicket to that delivery. So an excellent ball there by Shaheen Shah Afridi. Not final ball of the over to come now. Dean is taking strike. He's ready to go. He's not going to be intimidated. He's not going to give up that easily.
Afridi follows up with the short pitch delivery. A good bowling from him and well handled by Elgar. This was again directed at the body, but he got nicely on top of it and fended it straight into the ground on the leg side. Yeah, just on your comments on Elgar, 41 without loss now the score. I tend to agree with you a bit, Otto, because I think he was one of the guys who played, got out to an unnecessarily attacking shot, really. Driving at a ball well outside off stump, away from his body, which he didn't really need to do.
Yeah, so he's carrying on, doing the job for South Africa, and Yasir Shah will continue to Markram now, second over.
That's short from Yasir Shah, and Markram rocks back and drives it out on the onside, but can't pierce the field. So the score stays 41 without loss. Markram on 16, Elgar on 22.
Yeah, this is good by Markram. No intent to score, just defend.
Beaten by Yasir Shah this time. A beautiful loop delivery, lovely flight from Yasir, and just turns past the outside edge. And,
that's what a wicket-taking spinner looks like. Completely flummoxed the batsman there. For a defensive shot. And
Yasir Shah is begging for the wicket here. The googly Markram shouldered arms. It was a bit flatter, and I fancy it might not have done enough to actually get the LBW decision. Pakistan are considering the review. They've got 7 seconds left. It certainly was shaping to come back towards the off stump, but it doesn't look like Pakistan time up for a review. So Markram survives.
Time is up. They don't review. Markram was well outside the off stump there, but he didn't offer a shot. So we're looking at the replay here, and that ball came drifting into his off stump and straightened. I think it would have missed off stump, maybe clipped off stump.
Yeah, good decision by the umpire there. I think clearly not going to hit the stumps as Yasir Shah comes in again, flighted on off stump. Markram solidly forward, no run as cover comes into field.
So with that second delivery, the one that beat the outside edge, it was just a full defensive shot by Markram, and the ball doing enough to beat his bat completely. So that's danger of Yasir Shah.
Straighter this time from Yasir Shah, and Markram again solidly forward defensively and no run. 41 without loss.
So Markram is getting forward nicely here, trying to get to the pitch of the ball and smother the turn. But if that ball is just a bit shorter, it's going to cause problems for him.
Again, well flighted by Yasir Shah, and Markram once again defends solidly off the front foot, and that's the end of Yasir Shah's second over. South Africa 41 without loss. Markram on 16, Elgar on 22, and just saw a stat flash up that this is South Africa's best opening stand on the subcontinent in 19 innings, Otto.
That is remarkable. It's good to see Markram and Elgar coming to terms with the job of opening the innings, growing in stature as an opening pair with every test match. There was a spot there where for a time there where Markham let the team down a little bit and left Algar stranded on almost nothing for one. But it's good to see some solid opening partnerships from these two. 12 balls bowled to Markham without a run scored by Yasir Shah. So pressure building from that side, and Shaheen Shah Afridi peppering Algar from the other end.
Busy action for Afridi, short of a length. Algar pulls, but he can't beat mid-wicket. No run.
Very good morning, everybody. I apologize for being a little bit late today. I'm trying to shoehorn my responsibilities here into my general work life. So it's been a bit of a rough morning, I'm afraid.
Morning, Simon. It probably couldn't have been worse than South Africa's first hour in the field, though.
Yeah, it was very, very ordinary indeed, wasn't it? With just really being run riot by the Pakistani tail end.
Short and wide from Afridi, and Algar cuts well, and that'll go for 4 runs as the total moves on to 45 without loss.
Beautiful to see that. Nice shot there by Algar, just wide by Shaheen Shah Afridi, giving him enough room to play that nicely through the offside. And now he's wincing as he lets the ball go to the fence there. So let's see if Algar is giving us a clue as to what might be wrong. It looked like he was putting his hand to his lower back there. I'm just going to mute my mic. The rain is pouring down here. So apologies for the background noise.
Sure, no problem. We actually can't hear it all that much. Yeah, it's a bit of a concern with Algar's back. We'll chat about that in a moment. Ken, just do the next ball so that I can get myself in sync.
Yeah, Afridi drops short and Algar misses the pull of it. That kept a little bit low, and wicketkeeper Rizwan taking the ball right down by his ankles. 45 without loss. Algar's moved on to 26 not out, so having a good test match so far with the bat. 58 in the first innings. And in Markham's...
It's his hand. It's not his back, it's his hand.
Do you think it's his hand? He's certainly looking like he's holding his back.
He was resting his hand on his knee just now, his left hand on his left knee, and just wincing with pain.
Do you not think that was easing his back? I know when I get up in the morning, that's exactly how I stand.
Very awkwardly played by Dean Algar as Afridi dropped short, and Algar really turned his back on that delivery, and it comes off the edge of the bat and goes out into the covers. And Dean Algar certainly not looking in a good space at the moment. He's to the dressing room, and
he's getting properly worked over here by Shaheen Shah Afridi, and no doubt giving the bowler some extra zip and some extra incentive there. Dean Algar is in a world of trouble.
Oh, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that shot there.
No. Beware the wounded soldier.
Algar backs away and slashes him through the covers off the back foot. I don't think it's going to reach the boundary. Pakistan have chased it down, and the relay throw, and back they come for 2 runs. Algar moves on, 3 in fact. Algar goes on to 29 not out, and South Africa 48 without loss. Algar down on his haunches, certainly troubled at the moment.
Yeah, Physio has been told that he just needs to wait till the end of the over, but he is there with his magic bag. So we're going to see a bit of a break here. There's 1 ball remaining in the Shaheen Afridi over, and Algar is safely at the non-striker's end. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be encouraged Aiden Markram to either block it safely back down the pitch or smash it to the boundary, but nothing in between those two, please.
Maybe he'd like Markram to take a single so he can stay or strike. Well, I guess Algar would rather face the spinner than the fired-up Shaheen Shah Afridi at the moment, though. And Afridi's going to come in again now for the last ball of the 6th over. Around the wicket, good length, and Markram just shuffles back a bit and plays it defensively back down the pitch. End of the over. South Africa 48 without loss. Markram 16, Algar 29, and here come the physios.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which part of Dean he works on now. Who is the physio these days? Do we know what this chap's name is?
Craig Governor.
Oh, is it still Craig Governor? Okay. So he's been around, for many, many years actually with the Proteas squad, hasn't he? He is. You're quite right. He's looking at his left hand. Okay, well done, Otto. You can Was he hit earlier during his innings on that spot?
Yeah,
Just
took
before
one
you came
flush on the pinky knuckle.
Oh,
on the
really?
side
Oh,
of the
okay.
glove. Yeah, from Shaheen Shah Afridi. So on his left hand, just on the knuckle of his little finger, the first knuckle of his little finger. Yeah.
Okay. So he really is obviously struggling a little bit. But the good news is if it's an external injury like that, some magic spray certainly helps you just move on for a little while, and it's not it's not likely to have very, very long-term implications. But if you put his back out, as I initially thought, then that's a different sort of story.
Yeah, as long as there's nothing broken or cracked in there, that's the thing I'm concerned about, because if he might have to retire hurt if he realizes that it's the pain isn't sliding and it's not just swelling up, it's actually damaged something inside his hand. But so far he's got his glove back on. He's braving the pain, so good to see that. Representing South Africa, 100% there, Dean Elgar. Well done.
I mean, to his immense credit, if that is what was causing him the trouble, which it clearly was, the shot he played just to get down to the non-striker's end was a really slashing back foot drive that must have used an enormous amount of his bottom hand, which is the one that's injured. Whether it was instinct took over, but he was certainly able to play through the pain then. So he is going to be facing Yasir Shah now. It'll be interesting to see whether it does impact his ability to work the ball around at all. I would imagine you use a little bit more bottom hand when you're facing a spinner. I know I certainly do, but I don't know whether that's what you're supposed to do.
Yasir Shah in from around the wicket. Elgar sweeps. Wicketkeeper dives forward to take, and he's been given out to take the catch. Elgar sweeping. A delivery outside off stump, must have got a bat onto it, looped up off his pad perhaps, and Mohammad Rizwan diving forward, very sharp to the opportunity. And Elgar's torment is over. South Africa 48 for 1, and Dean Elgar caught behind off the first delivery he faced from Yasir Shah, gone for 29.
Let me give you the numbers.
Glove onto his pad, up into the air, and good work by Babar Azam there to dive forward and catch that. Yes, let's hear his figures.
Yeah, so Mohammad Rizwan was the man who dived forward to take it. It's Dean Elgar. He was caught by Mohammad Rizwan, who's having a reasonably good test match himself, isn't he? Bowled Yasir Shah for 29 of 45 balls. He hit 4 fours, strike rate of about 4 runs per 6 balls faced. And that is the end of the South African opening partnership. 48 for 1 now. Aiden Markram has survived a couple of close calls, but it is Dean Elgar who is going to be heading back to the hut. Markram's still there. He's on 16 of 54, and so scoring a much, much slower rate, I think, is probably under a bit more pressure than Dean Elgar has been as well. And I think the new batsman in should be Rassie Panderbisson.
Indeed it is. And also a right-hander. So it only took Yasir Shah one delivery to take advantage of those foot marks outside the off stump of Dean Elgar, the left-handed batter. I would have loved to see a little bit more of Yasir Shah bowling into those foot marks to see what he could come up with there, what kind of movement he's getting off the pitch there. But he need those foot marks. He beat outside of Markram's bat exceptionally well. Almost got him while he wasn't offering a shot. So Van der Dussen has got his work cut out. Yeah, he's got to make up for his brainless run out in the first innings. Ran himself out by himself, and so he's got some work to do to make up for that mistake in the first innings. 2 slips, short square leg, man at fine leg, just behind square, about 30 meters away from the bat. Let's see. Delivery coming in.
It certainly is going to be an attacking field for Rassie. Put the new batsman under some pressure.
As you'd expect, Yasir Shah in, well pitched up just outside off stump, and Van der Dussen stretches forward and defends. No run. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Elgar would go to the sweep for the very first ball he faced from Yasir today, out of the foot marks, as Yasir Shah runs in again with purpose, straight to this time, and Van der Dussen defends off the inside half of the back to short leg.
So both of these guys have had a very good summer so far. I was looking at Aiden Markram a little bit earlier. He's scored buckets of runs in South Africa's first class system, although not as many as you would like for Test.
Nice flight again by Yasser, and Van der Dussen again stretching forward to defend. No run, 48 for 1.
Van der Dussen coming off the back of 100 that he made mid-December for his domestic team, the Lions, against the Knights in Bloemfontein. I'm off to Bloemfontein later on this afternoon. I should be sleeping there tonight.
Well, nice to know, as Van der Dussen just pushes Yasser Shah out to a shortish cover. Again, there's no run.
In the two tests against Sri Lanka, he scored 15 and then 67. But the real work he did was against England in those T20s in November and early December. He was 37, and then he was 25 not out and 74 not out, which for T20s is phenomenal batting.
He did have a great series indeed, as Van der Dussen now just prods Yasser Shah down to mid-off, no run, and that's the end of the over. South Africa 48 for 1, and Yasser Shah yet to concede a run after lunch, and that's even though he's bowled 3 overs, so 3 consecutive maidens for the classy leg spinner.
Yeah, good stuff there. Do we have tweets, Simon?
Oh, I haven't even had a look yet, but I will in a moment. It does look like we've got a couple. How far have we got with tweets?
I think from the beginning of the session, I did have a preliminary look, and I think nothing.
I tweeted something during lunch, and we haven't had any tweets read since then, so you can use that as a reference. Yes.
I was mildly confused, but the reason was I was looking at my own Twitter feed and not at Guerrilla Cricket. So I was thinking, geez, we haven't had many tweets at all. Clearly not tweeting me huge amounts today, which is not a bad thing. Usually, you never ever want that feeling where you wake up in the morning and your Twitter feed has been has garnered attention overnight. That's never good news.
Freedy angled into Markram, who goes back and squeezes it past the backward square leg. There'll be a single there. Freedy's changed to around the wicket to Markram, which I'm a little bit surprised at, because he certainly was giving him problems coming over the wicket and angling the ball across him and then bringing the odd one back. But maybe he just thinks there's not that much swing left now that the ball is a few more overs old. How many overs have we had? We've had this is the 19th over.
So there was a discussion a little earlier with Kevin McCullum saying that we should have an early morning drinking game where a shot of sanitizer every time Elgar is described as gutsy, gritty, or determined. And there's already 2 down with the SABC, or with the Supersport commentary team, I think. And Dave Midgley said he would add my favourite, nuggety, to the list.
Yes.
So Chris T does point out that we've avoided all those adjectives so far today, but it is only a matter of time. Well, what we can add is that he saw and gone to the adjectives.
Van der Dussen defends a freebie to mid-on, no run. Yeah, I think nuggety is probably my favourite when it comes to Elgar as well, but we have steered clear of all of those cliches, and we're safe because Elgar's back in the hut.
Yeah, I think you have to wait for Elgar to face like 120 balls before you can start pulling those out of the bag.
There should be some sort of rule, yes.
Yes.
Van der Dussen defends on off stump, a good line that from a freebie, no run.
I mean, as a member of the Prince press corps, I mean, I'm sure you are familiar with the guidelines where it is required to use nuggety in any one of the first 3 paragraphs referencing Dean Elgar.
Just don't compare Dean Elgar to Kepler Wessels, as I did once, and he was very upset with me.
Kepler Wessels or Dean Elgar?
Dean Elgar.
Possibly both, yeah.
Gets off the mark now as he tucks Shaheen Shah Afridi off his thigh, backward square on the leg side. So Van der Dussen underway, off the mark off his 8th delivery. South Africa 50 for 1, 50 up.
I was just looking at a... go for it, Simon.
There is a tweet from Dave Midgley just observing that Otto on commentary looks like a sinister baddie in a horror film, because darkness is your ally. But you appear to have given us just a JPEG now over your visage, so we're not having to worry about it.
Our esteemed producer Mpo instructed me to switch off my camera.
Fair enough.
Because of my poor internet connection and the speed issues that I'm experiencing at the end of every month, thanks to my diligent YouTube watching kids. 50 for one, 50 up for South Africa.
Back of the net for Mafridi, and Aiden Markram hops onto the back foot to defend. No run.
I mean, these days, not having uncapped internet into your home, particularly if you've got teenagers or anyone to be that matter, is akin to not having drinking water coming out your taps, surely.
Yeah, my ADSL line got destroyed by a thunderstorm a little more than a year ago, and so I had to switch over to an LTE connection. So now I get fair usage policy throttled every month.
That bloody underground lightning, you've got to watch out for it.
Yeah.
Straight from Mafridi, and Markram defends to Madon. No run. That's the end of the over. Very tidy there from Shahid Shafidi. South Africa 50 for one. Markram 17 not out. Van der Dussen 1 not out, and the deficit is still 108.
Right, let's do more
actually...
Dr. Dan, we've been calling him Dr. Dan Draper. No, I've been calling him Dr. Dan Draper on account of that. Dan Draper is the chap on Madison Avenue. Is it called Madison Avenue, that show? But it's Dr. Dan Diaper, and which I'm sure is not his real name. But he's given us an impression a few minutes before lunch of Hassan Ali about to hit Dean Elgar on the helmet, which is quite a goodie. So I've liked that and retweeted it. Always like to see Dr. Dan's pictures. Dave Midgley has sent us a tweet by Fidoz Mundo, who is the Crick Info South African correspondent. She says, against Sri Lanka in the Boxing Day test, Elgar and Markram put on South Africa's first century opening partnership since 2017.
And Rassie van der Dussen has just defended the first two deliveries of Yasir Shah's new over for no run, but a turn for Yasir, as you would expect.
She goes on to say, in this test, they've posted the highest opening stand for South Africa in Asia in 19 innings since 2015. Corners get turned slowly, but they do get turned.
Yeah, Ken also pointed that out, and thanks for tweeting us in, everybody listening. Tell us where you are, tell us who you're supporting, especially if you're a Pakistan fan, because we are obviously very Protea-tinted commentators here. So
please, you're absolutely welcome to tweet us at Guerrilla SA. That's GUERILLASA, Guerrilla SA. Love to hear from you, particularly if you're from Pakistan.
Yasir Shah in again, well flighted, and this one takes the outside half of Van der Dussen's back, but skirts away safely on the offside. No run.
He is bowling very, very well this morning, isn't he? He's just looking like he's going to get a little bit of variation, a bit of different bounce, or one's going to grip and turn, and things are going to happen for him.
For 21 balls without conceding a run, says it all as he comes in again, well flighted on off stump, and that'll be the first run off his bowling. The 22nd delivery as Van der Dussen pushes the full ball, manages to get it through the offside field, and they will come back for two. South Africa 2 for 1 now.
Antonio Gambino says it sounds like I was run over, but he means me, was run over by a bus this morning. I wasn't run over by a bus. I was getting people bread and milk, amongst other things. And Leah has shown us, I'm not quite sure, a tiny piece of letter, and told us, behold, it is glorious. Was this in reference to an earlier conversation she was having with us?
That must be the Kale, I think, as Yasir Shah pitches outside off stump this time, quite wide, and Rassie van der Dussen wisely has nothing to do with it. Shah in again, back on the stumps, inside edge by Van der Dussen. It's running away to fine leg, and they'll get a single. 53 for 1. Van der Dussen goes to 4.
Okay, I do now realize I hadn't clicked on the JPEG. So I was seeing literally the bit that was held between her thumb and forefinger, but it is indeed a large piece of kale. Whether I would consider it to be glorious is a different debate entirely.
Inglorious, I would suggest.
Exactly. Tim the Cricket Guy says, I love Elgar for the courageous way he plays the game, but I can't help but feel he should have come off before his dismissal. Get a proper icing and rest on that hand and come back later. I think, Tim, certainly in retrospect, I think you were bang on. That was his injury a part of maybe a slightly looser version of the sweep shot that he played, or was it just good bowling from Yasir Shah? I'm not sure.
I
think it's a combination of both.
The shot he played off Shaheen Shah Afridi when he kind of slapped him through the covers off the back foot, it was kind of like a fight or flight reaction almost. So he certainly did seem rattled.
Yes, he was properly rattled by Afridi, yes. This was first ball by Shaheen Shah Afridi.
Afridi in again, good length. Van der Dussen digs it out and pushes it down a wicket to mid-on, no run.
Christ the Choir, obviously standing in for Woy Woy Pom Pom, who's maybe actually doing some work or something at the moment that he's not tweeting us. But Christ the Choir says, you're doomed.
Properly doomed at the moment. Trying to dig ourselves out of the doomed position. As we see the next ball.
Afridi just composing himself at the top of his run into his 8th over, split by lunch, bit short this time, and it rears up Van der Dussen and takes the hand off the bat as he fends it off behind square on the leg side, no run.
So 53 for 1 at the moment. Markram is there on 17 of 57. He's being very, very watchful indeed. Van der Dussen 4 of 16. Both of these guys averaging a little bit less than I think they would expect of themselves. Markram at 39, which actually, to be honest, for an opener in South Africa is not bad at all. We tend to forget that opening in South Africa is one of the hardest jobs in world cricket, and always bear in mind that Alistair Cook finished his entire career with an average below 40.
Absolutely right.
Van der Dussen pulls, nicely controlled this time, more of a hook shot than a pull to deep backward square for 1 run, 54 for 1 now. Van der Dussen on the 5. And Simon, let's also remember that Markram's average in South Africa will actually be quite a lot higher than that because of his struggles in the subcontinent, which has really dragged his average down.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does almost look like there's a confidence thing going on with him as well in the subcontinent. That he really is. Are we allowed to say gritting his way through this innings? Now that Elgar's disappeared, he can take on that mantle.
And again, good length. Markram defends off the edge of the bat, and they think about the single as it runs out through gully, but decide against it.
Yeah, Rassie was very, very keen to run Markram out at the non-striker's end there, but Markram was having none of it and sent him back. Said, mate, I watched you in the first innings. I'm not playing that game again, that's for sure.
Just on the Dean Elgar dismissal, if you watching the replay, the ball bounced outside off stump and would have hit leg stump. So it was a really excellent ball by Yasir Shah that undid Dean Elgar there. See this next
with
one
a short ball and nicely ridden by Markram, who gets it away fine down the leg side, and that goes away for 4 runs, given his runs, not leg by. So Markram goes to 21 and the total 58 for 1. Yes, so just even more reason really why Elgar shouldn't have been sweeping first ball out of the footmarks for me.
Yeah.
Was that the first ball that he had faced up from Yasir Shah this morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yasir Shah bowled 2 maiden overs to Markram in a row.
Okay.
And the first ball of his 3rd over was to Elgar after Elgar got off strike at last against Shaheen Shah Afridi, who had also bowled some real impactful deliveries at Elgar.
Again, hanging down led by Afridi, they scamper the quick single. There's a direct hit, but Aiden Markram is safely home. In fact, they're thinking of a second with the rebound off the stumps, but they don't take it. Quick single there as Markram turned Afridi wide of square leg. 59 for 1 now.
That was good running by the South Africans. They saw that Babar Azam had a little bit of space to make up, coming round from a backward square leg to pick that ball up and scampered through really, really nicely. And it's such a skill to have, to be able to turn over that strike regularly, particularly when you're feeling under the cosh a little bit. And that was a good over for Aiden Markram. He survived when he had to, took advantage of the poorer ball by Shaheen that he was able to turn down to fine leg, and then rotate the strike. So it was very, very good, safe batting.
Markram versus Yasir Shah again. They've got a silly point now. As we see this first ball.
Close and catches both sides of the wicket as Markram pushes forward and defends solidly back down the wicket to Yasir Shah.
Indeed, with the slip in place, Yasir Shah every opportunity here to get his man.
Markram comes down the pitch this time and gets nicely to the pitch of the ball and defends, no run, and then has to scamper back to his crease as Yasir Shah does the fielding.
I was going to suggest that maybe he try that a little bit, because it does take certainly that catcher on the offside out of the game when you come down the pitch.
As Markram stays in the crease but pushes forward to defend, no run. I do think maybe that's why the close catcher is in there, to try and get him out of his crease. And I don't have hugest confidence in Aiden when he does use his feet, to be honest, as Shah comes in again. Outside or some bit short, Markram cuts, but finds the deepest cover, but they will still get a run though. That's how deep the man was. So,
yeah, that was. I'd put it to you that was poor captaincy or poor field placement, to be able to hit the ball straight at the man and be able to take a single when he's not sweeping on the boundary. To me, seems and he's not in a catching position there. You know, they're not gonna slap one out there. I don't think, are they? That I think that man should have been 5 meters closer to the bat.
He was in real no man's land. Shah comes in, well-flighted delivery, and Rassie van der Dussen defends it back down the wicket. No run.
Now, I've heard a few of the subcontinent batsmen talking about the key to facing spin in India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka is to use your feet, to position yourself in such a way that you either get rid of the spin by getting to the pitch of the ball or get far enough back so that you can watch the ball and play after the ball has spun.
Spot on, Otto, as Yasir Shah goes outside off stump and Rassie van der Dussen leaves it alone. And
so once again, not speaking from my own experience.
60 for 1 South Africa now. Markram 22 not out, Rassie van der Dussen on 5.
Anis Mohammed says, if Elgar is too injured for the next test, who do you think gets the nod? And does the debutant open or bat lower? Didn't Temba open in India and do okay? Of course, we have got next test next week. I was thinking this was the second test, but of course it's not. So yeah, there's a week to go, and a week today, in fact, the second test starts, and they're going to have to make a plan. Who else is there?
Sarel Erwee is the other specialist opening batsman in this one.
In fact, you're quite right. Chris TB answers Anis's tweet with exactly that. Sarel Erwee, I would guess. So will he open, or will he come in at 3 or 4 and let Rassie open?
He is a specialist opener. Shaheen Afridi comes in again, angled into off stump. Markram jabs down on it into the covers and no run.
So you think even in a debutant situation?
Sorry, Simon.
So I'm just asking Ken. Do you think even in a debutant situation they'll happily open with him? They won't do like they sometimes do and put give a debut opener a couple of games further down the order and then push him up.
No, I think especially because he's a debutant, you want him to be batting in his normal position where he's comfortable. And feeding around the wicket full and straight, and Markram defends to bit on, no run.
Is anyone comfortable opening? Really and truly? The only time you want to open is on Christmas afternoon when it's tennis ball cricket in the backyard. Then guys queue to be first to bat, but thereafter, any of the rungs of cricket above that, no thank you.
They do say on the subcontinent the best time to bat is up front against the new ball before the spinners.
So why are opening partnerships so dreadful in the subcontinent then?
Yeah, good question. Markram defends to a wideish mid-on, no run.
I think that's probably got to do with the pitch deteriorating as the game goes on, and then having to face some of the world's best spinners in their home conditions on those on turning wickets. So I think that might have something to do with that statement.
And also subcontinent teams have now some quality pace bowlers. Afridi's one of them. This one keeps low. Bit of an appeal.
Going down leg.
Yeah, it was going down leg, but it looked a little dangerous. No, I think Shaheen had said that he has said to his captain it's going down leg.
Just wondering if Markram should have maybe been more forward to that delivery. It did keep low, but I also think it wasn't that short.
Oh, they have reviewed it. That's interesting. So what the indication?
Bad review.
Yeah, this is not a good review, guys.
It struck an outside leg.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, maybe just in line, but there's no.
There have been some very ordinary umpiring decisions in both the Pakistan men and women's series this last week or so for LBW, but this is not going to be one of them, I don't think.
It's hit him on the line of leg stump, pitching outside off and missing the stumps. Review lost for Pakistan. I wonder who convinced the captain to review. There must have been the bowler.
It must have been Shane, because when he indicated with his hands, I thought he was indicating going down leg, but in fact he was indicating the tee. So yeah, that was. You must never listen to your bowler with the stuff. Never, ever, ever. Because has there ever been a bowler in the history of DRS who said, "No, Skip, don't worry." Although I shouted my lungs out for that one, it wasn't actually out.
Meanwhile, the lead for Pakistan is under 100. South Africa trail by 98.
You must also, of course, as the bowler, there's a tactical thing there. You must never let the umpire know that you're ever appealing for something that you're not convinced is out.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, as Afridi comes in again, around a wicket, short of a length, and Markram goes back and defend. I guess Afridi just got a bit carried away there by the ball keeping low and hitting the pad. One does always tend to think about LBW then.
No,
it certainly looked
Markram's bat.
Yeah, it looks like a wicket-taking delivery. Of that, there was no doubt. It just he happened to have the wrong angle as he came in quite wide of the wicket and then angling it into the right-hander.
Quite right. Let's have a look after the ball at the fielding positions. But
he's got a short mid-wicket in as he goes back of the length and Markram chops down on outside off stump. Ball goes to that man at short mid-wicket and there's no run. And Markram gesticulating rather angrily, it seems, at one of the Pakistan players, it seems, has walked out of the change room and wandered down the stairs just above the side screen. And I think it was just as Markram was preparing to face the ball. He really looks very angry about that. And it was a bit of an awkward stroke he played to that delivery.
But also, I mean, from a design point of view, who on earth is having stairs come from the pavilion down behind the side screen? I mean, what was the architect thinking?
Probably not a big cricket fan. Yeah, there's 2 flights of stairs coming down either side of the middle center line of the field. Strange that.
No, that is appalling design. Not a very big side screen here, though, it must be said.
Yes, in again, flighted outside off stump and Van der Dussen pushes forward defensively. No run. 60 for 1 South Africa. And Markram on 22 and Rassie van der Dussen 5 not out.
I mean, there's absolutely no doubt as a coach or a skipper, I'd be having my 12th man marching up and down those stairs all day while the opposition is batting.
Yeah, I wonder, because that's inexcusable. I mean, it's usually somebody who's preoccupied with some aspect of security or some other, administrative or operational thing that's walking around behind the side screen.
Yes, a sharp back of a length and Van der Dussen pushes it on the leg side. Short leg does the fielding.
But that guy was part of the Pakistan squad.
Yeah, no, he was the 12th or 13th man. So look, I mean, anyone who's been 12th or 13th man does know, the days can drag a little bit, and you can be forgiven for not being as focused as one might otherwise be.
Yes, tossing this one up. Van der Dussen drives to a deep mid-on, and they through for the single. Again, fielded perhaps in a bit of no man's land there. 61 for 1 now.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the plan at the moment to survive Yasser Shah. If he does happen to drop one short, then have a bit of a slap at him, but try and get your runs off Shaheen Afridi, and so far it's working well for the South Africans.
Yasser Shah in again, flighted on middle and off. Markham drives, but can't beat cover. Simon, just read your comment about using it as a tactic. I have often wondered what cricket would be like as a game if there weren't all these rules and niceties that stop players from doing that. As Yasser Shah flights another one up off the outside edge and to a backward point, no run.
Well, no, I will tell you that one of my favourite things about cricket is the gentleman's agreement that you don't have a go at the umpires. When you compare it to football, which is just an absolute free-for-all at any level, with abuse coming in from the stands and from the players on the pitch. Cricket would be a very, very different game indeed if the umpire was rushed during an LBW decision, and you had guys nose to nose with him. And so that is one thing that I'm exceptionally grateful to cricket for. Does it happen in baseball? I mean, I know the baseball players happily yell at each other all the time and come to blows. Do they yell at the? Are they umpires or refs in baseball? I think they're umpires, aren't they?
Umpires,
they do. They do, but the penalties are meted out. Regular people get banned from the stadium and chased off the field.
Oh, okay, so it's a similar sort of ethos to cricket, although maybe slightly more lax.
Change of bowling now as Hassan Ali has replaced Afridi, and a good first ball spin swinging into Rassie van der Dussen. He has to jab his bat down quite quickly to keep that delivery out, defending it back down the wicket for no run. Hassan Ali has bowled 6 overs for 22 runs. Before that, very good start to his second spell.
Yeah, got a little bit of movement there. It was looking good. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Hassan Ali again. Back of the length, Van der Dussen tucks it off his hip, and they take a quick single again, just to where square leg would be. The fielder is behind square in this instance. So single for Van der Dussen takes him to 7. South Africa 62 for 1.
And I'm reminded of a match between the Bulls and the Reds at Loftus here in Pretoria. A couple of years, well, it was a good number of years ago, maybe 10 or 11 years ago, when a game between the South African and Australian team would be a New Zealand referee, and the crowd hurling insults in Afrikaans at the guy as we watch this ball.
Hassan Ali in again from the pavilion end.
So the
well pitched up, and Markram defends just outside off stump. It goes on the leg side again. Perhaps a little bit concerning that Markram is playing a little bit across the line of the delivery.
So then, of course, the Bulls team will chuckle at the remarks from the crowd, and the Australian players and the New Zealand referee would have no idea what was going on.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you're playing it at Loftus, you're usually under no mistake as to what the crowd are yelling at you, even if you don't speak Afrikaans.
Ooh, back of a thing from Hassan Ali, and that kept low and was very straight. And Markram did well to actually jab the bat down and dig that one out. It then went behind the wicket.
Yeah, that wasn't materially different from the one that was reviewed in that previous over from this end. Pitching the same sort of length and just creeping along the pitch, and Markram did very, very well to jam his bat down.
It was a lot straighter, that one. That certainly would have been LBW or bowled if Markram hadn't put his bat to that.
Yeah, that ball was on its way to the stumps at a rapid rate.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for me, Otto. That I could absolutely imagine rugby players having a go at the ref, and yet again, culturally, it's absolutely not done, and it's clamped down on very, very quickly. Partially because they're so physically dominant and physically intimidating. But why they don't have that in football as well, I've absolutely no idea.
Well, the thing with rugby is that you can get sent off, meaning that your team has to play the rest of the match without you. So they're all going to be mad at you, first of all. And then second of all, you can...
Stump, and Markram just defends, no run.
You can see 10 meters at a time if you talk back to the referee. as they move the penalty forward when you talk back. So
Yeah.
that's also not a nice thing to do for your team.
They've got to have a situation where they bring that in for football. Football is becoming unwatchable for me, with the diving and with the just general gaming of the referee the whole time. I'm finding exhausting.
Slanting in again from Hassan Ali. Markram tips it off the pad, but straight to short mid-wicket, no run. And the end of the over, South Africa 62 for 1, Markram 22, Van der Dussen 7.
What was a surprising innovation with football refereeing, which I didn't realize it would have the impact that it did, is giving them that little spray can of, I think it's basically shaving cream, that they use to indicate where the wall is going to be for free kicks. Because remember what an absolute ball like that was. You know, the ref having to almost scrum the line, the defensive line back to the point where he felt it was, and then the second he turned his back, they would creep forward again. So just having that has enormously improved the game. What I would like to see is, I don't know if you saw in the last 24 hours, there was that defender who got the tiniest of little nudges from Cristiano Ronaldo, and he went down like he had been shot with a cannon. And I would love to see post-game those sort of things reviewed, where if there's any indication of play acting, you get banned for 2 or 3 games with composite loss of earnings. That's the only way that they can sort that out.
Rassie van der Dussen just taking his guard again against Yasser Shah, and Yasser Shah coming around the wicket, and he just swats him away on the leg side for a single, 63 for 1. Yes, that spray can must have saved about half an hour a game, Simon.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and the sort of stress of the ref as well. So it's been surprisingly useful. I do understand you're never going to be able to get diving out of the game. Oh, that was a good ball.
Beautiful delivery from Yasser Shah from around the wicket, turning sharply out of the rough. But well played by Markram. He got into a good position to defend on the back foot, and then just dropped the hands, and the ball just whizzed through safely to wicketkeeper Rizwan.
Yeah, as good as Yasser Shah is bowling, Markram is actually looking very competent against him. I'm sure I've put the mockers on him now.
Solidly enough defended that time by Markram, no run.
I think if we're talking about surviving Yasser Shah, this is a guy who can bowl 20, 30 overs a day. So I think it's rather a case of getting used to facing Yasser Shah and trying not to lose your wicket.
His control has been impeccable, just as Markram sweeps nicely. It'll just be the single down to deep backward square leg.
That ball was slightly wider of leg, and I think that then gave Markram permission in his own mind to get his foot down and have a sweep at it. And he played it very, very solidly and very, very safely. So, good batting here.
Yeah, very well controlled sweep shot by Markram. Yasser now to Van der Dussen, but short. Van der Dussen goes back and tries to force it away on the leg side. I think it might have hit short leg. No run there.
Now, so the only danger there for Markram is that he gets the same court dismissal, because the right-hander facing Yasser Shah will not be up for LBW if he's bowling around the wicket like he is at the moment.
Yasser in again, short leg and silly point, pitches outside leg, and Van der Dussen just pads it away. No run.
No,
the end of that over, yeah. 1 for 7 off 7.
Yeah, just keep the bat out of the way. You can play a decisive shot.
Yeah, they're certainly looking like they've got the right mindset at the moment with Yasser Shah. And I've really enjoyed this Test match from the point of view of, there have been periods where both South Africa, certainly Pakistan, has had to really, really grind through. I'm thinking about that partnership for the 5th wicket yesterday. And this is a period like that for South Africa now, where these guys really have to set out their stall until tea, even if they're only batting at 1 or 2 runs and over.
Yeah, and what's also making it very interesting is that all of the South Africans and most of the Pakistan team have played very few, the South Africans none, and the Pakistanis very few Test matches in Pakistan. All of them started their careers after the UAE years, you could say.
Hassan Ali starts his next over, back of a length outside off stump, and Markram punches it off the back foot into the covers. No run.
So that's why I think Pakistan brought those debutants in with the first class experience, just to get some experience in these conditions into the Pakistan team, and South Africa don't have that at all. Nobody in the team has been there before, has played in Pakistan before, as far as I know. Maybe an under 19 or 18 tour.
Full from us. Perez had a little bit of reverse swing into Markram there, and he can't time the drive. It's safely fielded by the bowler. No run.
Yeah, and forward alarm certainly batted very, very well indeed. For all his quirks and weirdnesses, he looked incredibly solid and very, very at home.
Angling it again from Hassan Ali, and Markram pushes it off the pads, but can't beat short mid-wicket. No run.
We're coming towards the end of our period here, I think. I'm assuming folks are going to be coming in to take over from us. Who is due? Do we know? I can look it up in a moment.
Absolutely no idea, but I'm sure it'll be good. So stay tuned to One World Sports Radio, Guerrilla Cricket South Africa. Do tweet us in, let us know where you are watching from, and who do you think is winning the game. Obviously, Pakistan in a strong position. Can South Africa win it? Can they force a draw? What do you think? Let us know. And we see this next ball by Hassan Ali.
Good line and length again from Hassan Ali, and Markram defends stoutly. No run, 64 for 1.
Product placement again, the teacups there. This time we know they are members of the Pakistan squad. No questions about who's entering the bubble there to drink tea in front of the camera.
Although weirdly, the guy on the left had Mohammad Rizwan's jumper on. It had his name on the chest. Unless there's two M Rizwans, but it certainly wasn't our Rizwan, that's for sure.
Hassan Ali goes short this time, and Markram punches off the back foot, but can't beat the man at cover, diving to make a decent stop.
Well, if you can't have crowd shots of people doing things and making sticks with beer glasses and all kinds of stuff like that, and Pakistan carrying all those weird stuff toys around, you can give the sponsors some exposure. So good work there from the broadcasters, I would say.
And Hassan Ali ends the over outside off stump. Markram shoulders arms, and that will be the end of our stint. South Africa 64 for 1. Markram 23 not out. Russell van der Dussen 8 not out. And Dean Elgar, the man, out just after lunch, caught behind off Yasir Shah for 29, having been roughed up by Shaheen Shah Afridi. And South Africa trail by 94 runs as they go into the drinks break. Join us after that for more commentary on One World Sports Radio.
Thanks very much, Ken, for handling that ball by ball. Cheers, Otto, as well. I will stay on air until we know that Tim has some friends with him. Looks like folks are joining us. There is the sideways face of Chris Tuberculosis, and I think it's Chepo that we're waiting for. How are you, gents, this morning? Oh, we've lost.
All good, Simon.
Excellent, thanks, Tim. It's been a really, really good hour of Test match cricket. I don't know how much of it you were watching off air in the Guerrilla Cricket luxury green room.
Yeah, I've been watching it and listening to you guys as always.
Oh, excellent. Good grinding cricket, but Yasir Shah bowling very, very well, and I think the South African batsman matching that as well. It's been fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's been good, hard fought Test cricket. Hard fought.
I was a little bit worried that we were going to see something of a procession for South Africa today. They can't have walked off the field at the end of that Pakistan innings with too much of a spring in their step, having really been taken to the sword a little bit by the last 2 wickets in particular. So to see them actually come out and really, really apply themselves. Longest opening partnership, or highest opening partnership, since 2015 in the subcontinent for a South African pair.
Well, it's a record, so we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, unbelievable that we haven't managed to score a 50 opening run partnership in all that time. There was that Indian tour that was absolutely diabolical. South Africa couldn't buy an opening partnership then.
Yeah. That's the less said about that one, the better.
You were
Morning,
just
Chris.
asking if any of
Yeah.
good morning. You were asking whilst I was backstage if any of the South Africans had played in Pakistan. And as far as I can tell, it would just be Faf du Plessis, who was part of that World 11 side who played 3 T20s against Pakistan in 2017. A few other South Africans were part of that, but none of them in the test squad at the moment. It was Hashim Amla, Morne Morkel, Imran Tahir, David Miller, all South Africans who have played some cricket in Pakistan, albeit a different format.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's well remembered. I'd completely forgotten even the existence of that series, let alone the fact that South Africans were involved with it. So there has been international cricket back in Pakistan for quite a while. Have we had a test back there? Afghanistan went there, didn't it?
Sri Lanka did, and Zimbabwe.
Sri Lanka. Yeah, okay.
Sri
there we go.
Lanka, yeah, Sri Lanka were there in 2019.
And I think Zimbabwe played an ODI series there in 2015. I think Zimbabwe were just like the first side to go back to Pakistan.
I think that's right. I think they were the first international side anyway.
We might need to sync up our feeds just to make sure we're seeing the same thing. I'm watching live TV. I don't know about the two of you.
I'm watching live as always.
Okay, in which case I'm going to go back to live as well. I was on Otto's feed, which is never particularly pleasant to be that far behind.
Right. So I think we missed 2 Yasir Shah deliveries. He comes in his third one into Rassie van der Dussen. It turns quite a bit. Rassie doesn't offer a shot, but it just bounces off his pads, and there's no run there.
Yeah, it's been a really good battle of wills between the South African batsman and Yasir Shah.
Yeah,
It's been a very good battle.
Easy to fall into cliches, but I think Yasir Shah could be the difference between the sides. We've got the left arm spinners, who both finger spinners, who aren't turning it nearly as much as he seems to be ripping it so far. And again, this one just hits the pads of Rassie van der Dussen as he doesn't offer a shot and goes up the pitch for no run.
Yeah, he looks a completely different prospect to the South African spinners. Possibly, I might go as far as say to anyone who's ever played a spin for South Africa, with the exception of Imran Tahir. He's looping it beautifully. It's turning square when he does get it into that rough, and he's looking like a handful. But for the time being, I think these two in particular have handled him very, very well. Being patient and waiting for him to get a little bit leg side before trying to score up him.
This time he comes over the wickets into Rassie van der Dussen. It's a straighter delivery that doesn't turn nearly as much, and it's just left alone as it goes through to the wicketkeeper. I've got a stat which I'm sure Tim can build on. It's maybe positive, maybe depressing, that this is Markram's second highest ever score away from South Africa. His highest score is 39 outside our borders.
Well, it's a stat. Let's hopefully you can build on that. I have a stat, but he's going to have to score a few more runs to get my stats in. I'm not going to say what it is. Just to see how he does in the innings.
That's the subplot then. The cricket's the main plot, and then we've got the background stats. So they hang around for those.
As we see Fahim Ashraf, when you two are on there.
Fahim Ashraf joining the attack, I think, for the first time in this innings. He's the all-rounder seam option, something South Africa didn't go for in this game. But yeah, Pakistan obviously have the two premier spinners as Ashraf comes in right arm over into Aiden Markram, straight on the wickets, and it's just defended into the onside for no run. 125 kilometers an hour.
So let's talk about that briefly. Assuming that South Africa doesn't burgle a historic win here, and we go into the second test one down, which I think is probably still the most likely scenario. And let's assume that Tabraiz Shamsi is back fit again. What changes would you like to see in the 11 for that second test?
I'll comment just after Ashraf's second delivery, very similar to the first, on the wickets, defended up the pitch for no run. Tim?
I'm not sure. It's a difficult one. You have to wonder, will Dean Elgar be fit with his hand? that might be an enforced change if he's fractured his hand or worse, it's broken. Everything depends on the pitch again, doesn't it? If it's similar to this one, then yes, Shamsi would come in for me.
I'm assuming they're
This
playing
is
in the same
Wai's
ground.
delivery from far. No, that's not. The second match is in Rawalpindi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Rawalpindi.
Okay. Do we know anything about the Rawalpindi pitch?
I can no. I'll see what I can find.
No, because all we have is a few PSL T20 games, which is not really helpful in this context. But no, we don't know what to expect.
Although I imagine the Cricket South Africa backroom staff have done a bit more research than us, as Fahim Ashraf comes in with his fourth delivery, strays slightly down leg, and is played to the man at a short mid-on for no run. Hopefully, I think, they'll be able to offer insights that maybe we're missing and do know what to expect in the second test.
But I would suggest it's probably not going to be that dissimilar from this one. This is pretty much a standard Pakistan wicket. No, this is the best time to be batting, and later on, spin will definitely come into play much more than it is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the bowlers, it was really only George Linder who wasn't successful in the Pakistan innings.
Ashraf, and again, this one's just driven to the man on the square for a dot. South Africa 64 for 1.
There were 2 or 3 wickets each for Rabada, Nortje, and Ngidi and Maharaj. I think Maharaj is probably safe, and I mean he's the incumbent. I'm not sure I would necessarily. I can imagine bringing Shamsi in for George Linder, and maybe bringing Bjorn Mulder in for Heinrich Nortje.
Or for Ngidi. If Ngidi's coming for Shamsi, then I guess whichever way you want to put it, it's Linder and Ngidi out, Shamsi and Mulder in.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
delivery's just defended up the pitch. No, right.
We didn't look at our best when we had 2 spinners bowling. I thought we were when we had a spinner from the one end and we had one of the quicks from the other. That was when South Africa looked the business. So I think the bringing in Shamsi for Lungi, to reverse the forced change, I think would be a mistake. And I think in retrospect, they're probably quite glad that they didn't have the 3 spinners for this test as well.
Although, we spoke about it yesterday. Shamsi offers enough differences to Linder and Maharaj being a wrist spinner and the left-arm wrist spinner. Perhaps he could get closer to the turn that we've seen from Yasir Shah.
Yeah, I would certainly bring him in for one of them. I would, and that's why I'm thinking maybe Shamsi in for Linder, because they looked very, very the same. Hey, when they were bowling together in tandem, it was just exactly the same stuff coming from each end. So I'd like to see Shamsi in. I think probably for Linder. I think that's probably fair, and not because Linder did anything terribly wrong, but just Keshav is the incumbent. And then I just didn't feel that Heinrich Nortje looked that incisive in that first innings.
Well, we were discussing this morning in quite depth. I think that potentially he might have been told the wrong thing, because he's our enforcer. He should be bowling back of a length up at the rib cage of the Pakistan batsman. But what he was
just
bowling,
Neil Wagner stuff.
Yeah, what he was bowling was full out of the off stump, which was just, if that's not his game plan, that's the job of Ngidi and Rabada. He's different to those two. So I just think he got his lines and links wrong. Whether that's down to him or the tactics is really up for debate.
So we've had 2 Yasir Shah deliveries. He's got 2 very close up catching fielders, both under helmets, one on the leg side, one on the off side. And here he comes in for his third. He's bowling right arm over to the right-handed Rassie van der Dussen, who just defends this one up the pitch for no run.
64 for 1 at the moment. The current run rate, smidgen over 2 runs and over, 2 1/4 per over. And the last 5 overs have produced 4 runs, I think, something like that, 3 runs. This has been very, very quiet.
This one's attacks the wicket slightly more. Rassie van der Dussen plays it off his pads as they scamper through for just a single. South Africa moves on to 65 for 1. Markram will take strike.
Markram is there on 23. Van der Dussen is on 9 off 38. It's been watchful from these two, but they're doing exactly the right thing. Playing themselves in, making sure they get to the stage where they're seeing it as big as a football, and then hoping that that the heat begins to wear down the Pakistan bowlers a little later in the day.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Hello,
Yes, I'm here to relieve you, Simon.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Enjoy your shifts. I'll go and run away and do some work, and we'll see you all a little later in the day. Cheers.
Cheers, Simon.
Sure. Cool. And with Simon leaving, we've got a comment on YouTube. Please tell me who the greatest batsman between Rohit and Shikhar Dhawan is. Seemingly, it's an urgent question. Who do you guys think?
I'd go Rohit Sharma.
Rohit
Across all three
Sharma.
formats.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma every day of the week. Plus the 8 days of the week, if there was one.
Siak, I don't know.
Cool.
If that,
Just quick question: are you guys on a ball behind? What do you guys? Where you
we're on live
watching
TV.
off of? Because I think it seems like Chris is
Both live. So Yasir Shah
Both
just
live.
finished his over.
okay. Perfect.
Just finished his
Okay,
over
that's
65 for 1. Cool.
good. Okay.
Both
we'll
live.
see.
Yeah, he gets through it quickly enough that sometimes we miss a couple of deliveries when someone's making a point.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just here to do Twitter, so
All
keep
good.
going.
All good.
I think you guys are talking about the team selection for the next test.
Yeah.
I kind of feel we do need to go with 3 spinners. I kind of felt that Quinton was allowed to fall back into the crutch of always having a seamer at an end. And I do think Tabrez is an attacking spinner, and we need that, especially against the left-handers of Alam and Fahim Ashraf. And so, yeah, I do think you kind of need to take it away from Quinton to be able to then play spin twin on either end.
As Fahim Ashraf continues right arm over into the right-handed Rassie van der Dussen. This one's on the wicket, just played into the onside for no run.
I agree with Paul. I really wanted Chansey to play this test, and I really wanted to see his consistency that he's been doing in the 4-day competition. I really wanted to see him do his thing. So hopefully he will be given his chance in the second test. But with Linda's ineffectiveness, it was a concern that we didn't have that surprise bowler.
Do you think Linda was told to contain? Ooh, that reversed.
Yeah, the second
I do,
Ashraf
yeah.
delivery comes into the right-handed van der Dussen, who last minute manages to get bat on it, keep it out for no run.
I do, yes.
The crunch at Harris 0907281113, looking like a Beverly Hills number, area code. He says, if you were Pakistan, would you have played an extra spinner in retrospect instead of Hassan Ali?
No,
I'd have to look
I
at who
think-
their third choice spinner would even be at the moment.
It'd
I
be a
think-
debutant.
Yeah, I think Hassan has been better with the second innings of the ball. It's been a little bit unlucky. He was a little off colour in his first 4 or 5 overs, the first innings, but I think I would have stuck with Hassan Ali.
Hassan
I
Ali.
also think we made the point on the first day that Mohammad Abbas is the big absence. He was obviously left out of the squad, but in home conditions, he might be the man that you want to go to. Experienced and always, he's been good at home, whether that home is the UAE or Pakistan. Fahim Ashraf in against Van der Dussen just defended up the pitch for no run. So maybe Mohammad Abbas instead of Hassan Ali might make this attack look a little more potent.
So here's my question, because I understand Hassan Ali is there to take the new ball. You need someone to take the new ball who's a new ball bowler. Would you look for if obviously Pakistan, we don't know the batting ability of the third spinner that they have in their squad, but would you consider dropping Fahim Ashraf and bringing in. I know Shadab Khan is injured, but bringing in another spinner in that case.
But
So
is
you don't
Imad
have.
Wazim available?
I'll just check that for you quickly.
No, I'll answer that. No, I wouldn't have. Fahim Ashraf is a very useful all-rounder, and his innings was, although not that big, was a very, very important partnership. And he gels the team nicely between the top five and the lower order. I would stick with Fahim Ashraf.
Good delivery there from Fahim Ashraf into Van der Dussen, another dot.
He looks like a good cricketer to me.
So the first test squad has, I'm just trying to look. They have a right arm quick, fast medium bowler called Tabish Khan. And they've also got a 27-year-old right arm off break bowler. So he's similar to Yasir Shah, Sajid Khan. I think him and Nauman Ali were the top two wicket takers in their domestic season. So he's the only other guy there. I'm not too sure if he's got. I'm trying to get his batting to see maybe if he's more all-rounder-ish than anything else. First class average batting of 16. So
Yasir Shah here bowls the wrong end into Aiden Markram. It goes the other way, but Markram reads it well enough that he's able to play it to the man mid-on for no run.
So we've got one other question on YouTube. One last question. Sanjay says, Shikhar Dhawan is not playing Test cricket, but in Test cricket, his record is very fantastic. I think Shikhar's played a few Tests, guys.
He has.
Yeah, he has. Although the way India's playing at the moment, you don't want to mess with that side too much. Despite all the setbacks that they've had with injuries, they've still managed to put out consistently good sides that have performed. And I don't think there's a lack of openers for them either. Had a fair choice of them as Yasir Shah bowls against Markram. This one's left alone for no run. South Africa's 65 for 1.
Shikhar Dhawan is a good cricketer, but I wouldn't be playing him in the Indian side now. Not in Test cricket anyway.
Unless if Mayank Agarwal was injured for the Gabba, he probably would have been called up because he's the closest. He was only of the Indian players in Australia at the time.
Yeah. Maybe that's the long con. He moved to Australia just for that, so he can be a consistent backup. Maybe that next time we tour Australia, we suddenly have to call up Morne Morkel. This one defended up the crease by Aiden Markram, another dot. Yasir Shah been very good at holding up in the end.
So interesting enough, obviously Morne Morkel is married to an Australian, and obviously that's why he's there. I know one of my close friends, he's also married to an Australian, and they were very good friends with Morne Morkel and his wife. And every time we're at the Proteas play at the Wanderers, the kids would play together and the families would meet up. And that's how I managed to get a selfie with Morne Morkel. I had to name call my friend's name at the time. And he was like, oh, I know him. And then we took a photo and I had to send it to him. So, and that was at Surrey as well when he was playing in the beginning before the World Cup. He was playing for that Surrey side, which was very stacked.
So that was I think 2 maidens in a row. Yasir Shah following up Fahim Ashraf's maiden with one of his own. Just 8 runs in his 10 overs so far, and he's taken the wicket.
It's a trial by spin for these two South Africans. It's going to be very interesting to see how they do it. So far, Aiden's gotten a few good balls, but he survived. He has survived. And that's what you want. You want to fight through.
Fahim Ashraf, and again, attacking the wickets of Rassie van der Dussen, and it's just defended up the wickets for no run. I saw we had a cricket from an update from the SA Cricket Media Group. I don't know if either of you guys want to cover that.
I'm not, but go on.
I think it was just the fact that Dean Elgers had an X-ray and it looks like nothing's broken.
Okay, that's good.
Well, that's good news.
That is
one thing that is in our favour when it comes to the spin is the spin is slow. So it's not quick spin like Yasir Shah is bowling. Coming off the pitch quite slowly. So
defended up the crease by Van der Dussen. Sorry, carry on.
So while it's turning, it's not that quick, fast, bouncy turn. So it's a little bit easier for us.
So what if you're Yasir Shah, you'd be trying to push one quicker through in the over just to surprise the batsman.
Ashraf into Van der Dussen. Finally, after a lot of dots, they get a single as they scamper through for one there.
I like his speed. It's the pitch that's the problem. Because the pitch is a bit slow. I like his speed.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. But I wouldn't be adverse to the odd faster top spinner. Just every now and then. Yes, certainly.
Look at this run rate on the TV screen. Current run rate 2.1, last 50 balls 0.6. This is what
I don't
Chris
mind
cricket
that
is.
too much. As long as that second number on the scorecard stays 1 for a while and we don't lose any more wickets, I don't mind the run rate dipping temporarily.
Second.
Yeah, Ashraf, this one keeps a little bit lower, but Aiden Markram does well to defend it out into the onside for no run.
We can safely say the ball's starting to reverse. Sanjay's asking, who do you guys think will win the England versus India series? The first one in India during these COVID times. What's a 4-test series? What do you think your prediction is?
India win, and also massively helped by England resting some of their best players for the first 2 tests. So
Who are
India
these players
win.
being rested?
Okay?
Who are they resting?
They are resting Johnny Bairstow. They're resting Butler. They're resting Cohen. I think there might be a 4th, but it should be those 3. I mean, at the moment, Butler and Bairstow are in prime form. And them not being there for the first 2 testers. Look, England had decent backup, but those 2 boys they've just had a very successful tour of Sri Lanka, so it's a blow.
So this one also defended out by Markram into the onside, and again, no run. So just the 1 single off this over. Playing Ashraf, just 1 run in his 3 overs. Very economical.
Yes, and that's so that will bring Ben Folkeson to the reckoning.
Yep.
We're still looking. We've still always got fingers crossed for the Stokes combination. It hasn't happened just yet. Hopefully, we'll get it at some stage.
Where is Ben Stokes? Is he still injured? Or
I think he's been rested as well.
No,
he's in India.
No,
but rested for Sri Lanka.
Him and Archer are going to play.
Ooh. Okay, and obviously, I think I know one of my friends, actually, cricket connoisseur Aaron. He wants Ollie Stone to play. Sanjay says, Johnny did not play the 2 series against India. Okay.
Yasir Shah into Rasif Van der Dussen and just defended up the pitch. He's really, coming in quickly still. Lots of his deliveries getting close to 90 kilometers an hour. Really putting a bit of pressure on the batsman.
Yes.
That series is still going to be a very interesting series, regardless of the of the changes.
Second delivery left alone. Sorry.
No, what I was going to say is I was going to agree with Tim. It's essentially 1 versus 3 or 2 versus 3 right now in world cricket, which is something of very good to provide everyone.
This one sits up slightly more nicely for Rasif Van der Dussen, and he plays it into the onside and they scamper through for a single. They move on to 67 for 1.
Yes, Dave Misley tweeted Melinda Farrell's tweet saying Test cricket needs more smiley faces. Are you guys smiling? I see Tim is smiling. Chris is giving us a little bit of a smile.
Oh, smile now.
So,
it's a 4th one.
We've seen a fair bit of smiling so far in this match, I feel. Yes, to Aiden Markram, thick outside edge, thick enough that it misses the first slip, just runs down to the man who goes around to gully, picks it up, and they go through for another single. And we get another eagle in the shot, which almost looks like CGI. It is a real bird.
Good drift there from Yasir Shah. He's really making use of these conditions. 1 for 10 in 10 overs. You need to, for you to obviously, if wickets aren't falling, you draw up the runs, and this is what Pakistan are doing incredibly well with their spinners.
This one from Shah, slightly fuller, 85 kilometers an hour, just defended into the offside by Rassie van der Dussen. Another dot.
Yes, we've just passed halfway in the test match, and so we've got a long way to go, guys.
Yeah. At one point, it looked like this match would be over in a few days. At the end of day one, 14 wickets falling. Thought, geez, we're going to race through this and have a free weekend. But it doesn't look like that'll be the case anymore. As Yasir Shah is defended off the crease again by Rassie van der Dussen.
Yes, especially with 14 wickets, with 14 wickets falling on day one, you kind of feel as though you're already there.
That was a stat by Andrew Sampson. It was 14 wickets on the first day, 4 on the second, which I think was in the top 5 of fewest wickets on the second day, after 14 or more on the first day.
Yeah. So end of that over, 68 for 1. South Africa just. It feels like they are. It looks like obviously they're being bowled into the ground, but they are surviving. They're fighting back. It's sometimes you just need to get through these periods of immense pressure, and then maybe on the other side you'll come through. We've got a comment on Twitter again. Tim, can you tell me one thing you like about Rohit Sharma? And will he play in that test series?
His pull shot. I love him off short pitch bowling. But a lot of people seem to think he's bad against short bowling. He's not.
This one, Naman Ali back into the attack. We've got spin from both ends, straight slightly down leg, and Eden Markham's able to just play it off his pads, and they go through for 1.
I'm not sure if he'll. Yes, I'm not sure if he'll play in the Test series, but I think he has a good shot of making he's put up a case, I think, in that series. Yeah, so Nauman Ali is coming through and around. South Africa haven't scored a boundary in the last 80 balls, which shouldn't be a problem because I think all really looking to be is a little bit more positive and just rotate the strike.
Yeah, it's Test cricket, no rush. This one driven, but in a defensive manner by Rassie van der Dussen for another dot.
I thought I would have put the mockers on him, but Rassie just looks like he's always looked. He looks calm and serene at the crease.
A lot of people have given him flack about how slowly he bats at number 3. What do you think about that after this ball?
This one's just defended into the onside for a dot.
Ideally, I would prefer, if everything were equal, Keegan Petersen at 3. Yes, I understand that thinking, and I do agree with it to a point. I would like, if we're going to have Rassie at the team, I would prefer him at a number 5, perhaps. That sort of position. Once, let's say once Captain Duplessis retires and the spot becomes available, then I would start it down there, ideally. But his numbers suggest he deserves a longer spell at 3. His numbers are decent, without being brilliant. So he deserves to be where he is for the moment. But ideally, yes, I would like a more of a shot maker at 3.
Okay, and that's fair. I think he's had a great start to his career. Ooh.
Yeah, the deliveries that haven't been commented on were just a couple of dots. This one seemed to turn a little bit more threatened. Nauman Ali feels like he was in with a chance, or at least was starting to threaten Rassie van der Dussen. But at the end of the over, that's the end of his over. We'll probably get Yasir Shah on the other end. South Africa is 69 for 1 after 34.
Sean Analytics, this tweet came through our timeline. His tweet was, you must follow his account at Sean_Analytics, some incredible first-class stats. He says, me watching the Proteas bat in the second innings, and he's got a gif of, I think it's an army man in a movie with just the word survive. So that's what we want.
I had a point on Rassie van der Dussen. I just needed to find the stats to back it up, and now I have them. I I think one of my favorite number threes in the last sort of 15 years would be someone like Jonathan Trott, who just filled you with the feeling of safety. And he had a strike rate of just 48, batting at number three, but seemed to always hold up that English order if they lost that early wicket. I don't think there's a huge issue. It just depends on the situation and the role that the team wants from him. I don't mind a slow number three.
Okay.
Fair enough.
This one, Yasir Shah into Aiden Markram, very similar to the deliveries that just missed a few of our bowlers on the first day, but just misses the off stump. Markram, it was slightly straighter, but still a leg break. Markram gets out to try to defend it, but with the straight bat, misses the outside edge, and also just misses.
Come on, Markram. Come on, boy.
And again, this one keeps very low, but Markram's able to pick it up, get the drive away. Looks like they'll run through for two. It's going to be tight, but in the end, he's safe by a good meter and a half.
Why did you take two, Aiden? I'd want to just sit at the end of this one. Great initiative and going for the two, but man, just at the other end. Oh, it's
I want my Twitter timeline to be to be clear of anything of Markram. The only way that can happen if he scores runs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yasir Shah is dangerous enough without that variable bounce. That's just adding another factor I'd be frightened to batters. This one's just defended up the pitch slightly more competently, and there's no run rate. South Africa 71 for 1.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Sanjay's asking on YouTube, he's keeping us awake. Who is your favorite cricketer who's not from a South African team?
Chris, I'll hand it over to you. I'll have to think about that one for a few seconds.
Right. I don't know if it'll be all-time favorite, but my favorite player to watch at the moment is not South African. It's Jofra Archer, who's so exciting with the ball. If you watch his first-class wicket compilation, you'd think he's the greatest player of all time. This one from Shah looks like it got the thick outside edge. Whether it was dropped or just bounced short of the slip Babar Azam, we'll have to have a look. But yeah, thick outside edge. And
Very
definitely
loose
not
shot there from
celebrating.
Markram. Very loose shot there from
especially-
Markram. It got into Babar Azam's clutches. He had to fall. He was falling to his right, and as he fell, the ball popped out, and that's just he's living on a prayer. So we're thankful for the extra life for Markram. But Pakistan will be very disappointed with that.
Yeah, done. To answer the question, probably not my favorite, but one of my favorites, especially growing up from Pakistan, was Amir Sohail. I remember making 100 units when I was, I don't know, about 10. And it was an innings of great quality.
As we see the
Okay,
replay, and it was dropped. It was one of those catches where the fielder takes it at first, but then as his arm hits the ground, it bobbles out. Ended up hitting him in the face and then going onto the floor. Unlucky stuff there. Hopefully Markram's he's had a couple of chances now. He had that decision overturned, and now he's been dropped as well. One does hope that he's able to take advantage of that.
Yes, so I'll tell you my favorite cricketer after this. Angelic Scooter says, wait, folks criticizing Rassie for scoring too slowly. 2 words, Cheteshwar Pujara, and then the Crunch saying at Harris 9-0 with the 9028113.
This delivery just defended up the crease. No run. Sorry.
I think strike rates are overrated in Test cricket. Pujara batted slowly, but staying out there all day. It was a big factor in us, Australia losing the series. And then Angelic Scooter saying, blimey, Yasir certainly deserved that wicket from that over. Oh, well, tough chance, I guess.
You're probably right, but I don't want to agree. I don't want to say that the Pakistani bowlers deserve wickets at the moment.
No, but he's bowled. That over, he deserved it. He hit the bat multiple times.
Yeah.
He played with the batsman. He brought the batsman forward. He pushed the batsman back. He was playing with his speeds. He was playing with his lengths. And then he gave them the traditional leg break that got the edge, and it went far wider. it kind of tells you how slow this pitch is because Baba Azam is standing at first slip. If he was standing at second slip, he would have got it very nicely between his legs there. So it's an interesting one today, and it's fascinating Test cricket and very good bowling.
And we continue with the spin. Naman Ali is just defended out into the offside for no run.
So my favorite cricketer, who's not South African, is anybody who bowls wrist spin. But currently, right now, it's Yasir Shah, who is my favorite. Obviously, you think of the Sakleen Mushtaqs, and all the like. I love
the Adam Zampas.
Adam Zampa's great. Adam Zampa's good. Australia's coming with Mitch Swepson, who's also a wrist spinner. So that's going to be quite interesting to see.
And at the end of Naman Ali's over, there's no run. He's finished. It's 4 overs, 6 runs. South Africa is 71 for 1. Markram sitting on 27. Steve van der Dussen's on 11. The dismissed batsman Dean Elgar, who seemed to be struggling with injuries. He's had his X-rays now, and apparently it wasn't a break. So hopefully we will be able to see him in the second test.
Or in the second innings, fielding, but I don't think you'd want to risk it.
Especially when we have a squad of 21. Let the guys spend some time in the field, get some experience. We saw a lot of Keegan Peterson in the first innings, but there's a huge amount of depth there. Yasir Shah in again to Aiden Markram. This one's attacking the stumps, 82 kilometers an hour, just defended confidently back up the pitch. Markram's on, 27 off 111. Good patient innings. And Van der Dussen at the other end, 11 off 63. This one slightly more flighted, but Markram still manages to defend it up the crease for a dot.
Come on, Yasser, give us a long hop.
Just one. A loose ball.
And I don't know if that was a loose ball. It wasn't terrible, but Markram's still done a very good job to get on the back foot to cut it. And that's our first boundary in a very long time. Must be near 100 deliveries between boundaries there as South Africa move on to 75 now. Trailing by 83.
What helped Aiden there was that it was outside the off stump, turning away, so the risk is low, and it as Tim's always said, it just dies as it gets to the batsman. So it's a less risky shot to play off the back foot because you really take out the slip and the bat pad there that's in front of you. So that's a very, very good shot.
This delivery just defended again up the pitch to a man just on the square and no run.
And one of our faves, Angelic Scooter, saying, "Hi, by the way. Please excuse my absence the previous 2 days. Today's been the first time I've got an extended period of this match."
Another dot there.
And then he says, "Very engrossing test match and full credit to South Africa for going to Pakistan to play the series." That Graham Smith and the team, congratulations, well done. I may criticize you a lot, but for this, I will put this in the plus column for you.
And again, Markram gets on the back foot, but this time it's more of a drive, which just makes it to a man in the covers, and they go through for a single to finish the over. South Africa 76 for 1 after 37.
Antonio Gambino is a friend of mine. Living in Johannesburg, saying, "My favorite non-SA cricketer is Pujara. He is probably the most hated batsman from a bowler's perspective."
Yeah, just frustrating.
That's
winning
probably
through
right.
attrition.
Yeah, the wall or the door. Seems like he bats with the door, but very frustrating. But yeah, and like Rahul Dravid as well. I really loved watching Rahul Dravid bat and play. As well as Sachin is always obviously everyone's favorite, but he was really, really good to watch.
Naman Ali into Aiden Markram, bowling left arm around into the right hander. This one just defended for no run.
The other good cricketer I enjoy watching now is Jason Holder. I really think he's a great cricketer. Controls each side of the ball very well, batting and bowling.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll comment on that. Now this one attacks the stumps a little bit more, played into the onside for no run. I think he's finally he was given the captaincy very early. He came into the side very young. It's easy to forget how young he is. And he's finally managed to work with the bat and the ball the way he was expected to. Over the last couple of years, he's probably been one of the top 3 Test all-rounders. This one defended up the pitch, well, to the man in the covers for no run. And it's also always good to see a man who's 6'6" who can still score hundreds. This one strays down leg. Markram just plays it off his pads as it goes to man at square leg. There's a shy at the stumps, but they managed to get through for a single.
We're now getting everyone telling us who their favorites are. Harris, who's in Australia, says he loves Baba Azam. In an era of ugly techniques, he is so nice to watch. Yes, well, you've got Fahad Alam doing what he does best. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And
we've seen a graphic that's okay. Carry on.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So just Leah saying my favorite wrist spin of all time is Murali. Hard to argue with 800 Test wickets and that stare.
Although maybe not a wrist spinner. Hey, Murali.
What would you call him? Finger?
Yeah, finger spinner. Isn't he?
More,
Okay.
his wrist came into it a lot, but
I
he was.
think a risk because it just really did come into it. It's just created that Dusra. Without that risk, you wouldn't have been able to build that Dusra.
Right. Defended up the pitch. Quicker delivery from Naman Ali there, 90.5 kilometers. He conceded just the 1 run off that over. He's gone for 7. He's fine. I was going to say, they were showing a graphic of the Javed Miandad enclosure, which very much makes it sound like he might be sitting in a cage back there in the ground.
Oh, like the Wasim Akram enclosure and Wasim's in commentary. Dave Migley saying, Cullinan talking about playing spin on comms. That man was so far deep in the pocket of Warne, he would need a mining license. What color is the sports psychologist's couch mate? Okay, so yeah, that's what Dave's saying. Talking about it is quite odd.
Yeah.
Talking about, but he has first-hand experience.
This one more flighted by Yasir Shah and quite wide as well. Aiden Markram has a big flash at it. They managed to go through for just a single. There's almost a second, but they don't run on the misfielded overthrows.
Lunged for that one, Aiden Markram. I'm just worried. I'm worried. I don't want him to be playing shots where he's off balance because then it might bring fielders in and get mishits. But that one, he got the middle of the bat there and past that short extra cover.
Right. I've seen him overbalance on a couple of his defensive shots as well. I guess you get far forward enough and you're tall enough, and that can happen. As Yasir Shah continues right arm over into the right-handed Van der Dussen, it's quite wide, and he's able to leave that alone through to Mohammed Rizwan for no run. South Africa 78 for 1, trailing by 80 now.
Marius Rutt on Twitter replying to Dave saying Cullinan couldn't play Warne, he could play spin. Scored 100 in Sri Lanka out of a total of 200 with Murali bowling hand grenades in about 2000.
This ball just depended out. I was going to say something similar. You can very easily have your reputation tainted like that because the Shane Warne stuff is probably what Cullinan's most famous for. It stands out enough that it can overshadow a lot of his other accomplishments.
Yeah. His actual numbers he could spin are good. That he was just atrocious against Warne. As were
Which I think is true of a lot of players.
Yeah, as were many other batsmen, yeah.
And and sometimes it was quite embarrassing because of what the skill level that Warne was at. It was a massive mismatch for everybody who was a batsman in world cricket at the time.
This one just played off the pads of Van der Dussen and they go through for another single. 79 runs on the board, 79 runs behind.
Okay, that's good.
When that question asked about a favorite cricketer, I deliberately went slightly left field. In cricketing ability, I would always pick Warne. So I just loved his leg spin. But
Oh,
Yeah, if you separate the character from the art, the person from the art, I think
Yes.
Vaughan can be a
yes,
favorite. This one defended up the pitch by Aiden Markram, no run.
sadly, my opinion of him as a person is complete opposite.
Well, right now he seems to be the prefect of all the rules, of all the laws in cricket. So every time he's on commentary, he'll tell you that he's on whatever committee it was that does the laws. So that's pretty cool. Or irritating at times.
So-
Yes.
Saying what I said, when I was in my autograph getting days in 2001, that Australian side, he was the only one to give me his signature.
Okay.
The only
That's-
one. And there were several that were rather rude. shall we
Naman
say.
Ali just defended up the crease, another quick delivery, 90 kilometers an hour there from Naman Ali.
So Anis Mohammed replying to Antonio Gambino, who 2 hours ago said he's here for an Alga double century, and I remember I even said on comms that I would go and find him myself. And so Anis replying to Antonio saying, "You jinxed him." So that Dean Alga wicket is on you, Antonio, no one else. It's on you.
Another dot delivery there. As Naman Ali coming in again through and
Yes.
around into the right-handed Rassie van der Dussen. This one, yep, very similar to the previous. Just defended up the pitch. Good pace from both the spinners, both of them up near the 90 kilometer an hour range. Really forcing
That's
quick
through the
decisions from the batsman.
Yeah, that's through the air. Obviously, off the deck, it slows down a little bit more. He's got one slip, a silly point right in front of Rassie and a short leg.
And this one is played just past that short leg. It gets picked up by Shaheen Shah Afridi, who runs round to square leg, and they go through for a single. South Africa 80 for 1, Markram 34, van der Dussen 13.
Enrico on Twitter, Caparozio, saying, I hope I pronounced your name well, most of the world's batsmen struggled against Warne. Cullinan was more than competent against spin on various different conditions, including South Asia. Not a very well-considered comment.
Fight him back, Dave. Get at him. Get in the comments. Everyone defend him. This one defended up the pitch by Naman Ali, against Naman Ali. South Africa is still 80 for 1.
Yeah. South Africa is chipping away at this lead, which is, I think, what all South Africans kind of are hoping right now, get to that 150 with as little damage as possible.
Well, looking at the scores over the 3 days, one would think that perhaps the pitch is flattened out, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's hard to the pitch has sort of been stable, and if anything, it might be getting more difficult to bat. Definitely not reflected in what we've seen on the scorecards. Just an anomaly of the first day, really.
No, it's not an anomaly. It was just remember, sometimes the conditions will contrive to get you out, which is what you normally see on a day 4 or 5 pitch. But South Africa in the first day gave away 5 of their wickets. You could even argue for more, but they were the masters of their own downfall. So this pitch is actually a very good pitch. It's just that South Africa doesn't want to bat on day 1. Didn't want to bat on day 1, essentially.
This one is the wrong end, or at least a straighter delivery from Yasir Shah. Rassie van der Dussen just gets on the back foot, plays it into the onside. Fahim Ashraf runs round to do the fielding near the boundary. It looks like they'll go through
3
for 3 in the end. Yeah, very well run 3. It didn't seem like they'd have enough time to do it, but in the end, they strolled at 3.
Chris, I think you're the one who said, okay, let me not talk about Aiden. Angelic Scooters, the most impressive thing about Warne is that even though he's apparently on all those committees, he still frequently shows his ignorance of the laws of the game.
Yep.
Which is what makes Fox's commentary so fascinating.
Fascinating is a good euphemistic comment. Yasir Shah bowling around the wicket into Aiden Markram. This one's quite full, pitched on his legs, and he defends it into the offside for no run.
So here, Aiden's got a slip. They've moved that silly point away. He's got a leg, a short leg there. So they're looking for that ball to pop out of the rough and get the top edge.
And geez, he's getting good movement. He's turning it a fair bit. This one just padded away by Aiden Markram. Yeah, if he's able to really get one grip, I feel like we could see something spectacular here. I don't want to build it up too much. I'm worried. This one, another turning delivery padded away by Aiden Markram.
Honestly, I'm sitting here nice and calm, but inside I'm losing my mind. Honestly, I'm waiting for him to make a mistake. That's all. I'm waiting for him to make a mistake.
Well, he's passed his score, his high score outside of South Africa, so that's a good start.
I think his high score is still 39 outside of South Africa, so slowly getting there. But this, I'd imagine this is the most deliveries he's faced outside of South Africa. I'll have a look.
Yeah, I think it is. Anis Mohammed, so now 2 slips are coming in for Yasir Shah. He's got that. So he's got a short leg to cover. He's got a leg. He's got a short leg. Let's see what's going to happen. Ooh, outside the off-stump.
This one, Aiden Markram just manages to defend away to the man at point, and there's no run. Somehow, I feel more comfortable now that he's back to over the wickets rather than around. That around, even though Markram was playing them competently and padding them away, it just felt like one could rip in a way that he doesn't expect. This one, foolish, and defended again, this time into the onside for no run.
It's all because there's no rough outside the off stump. There was rough on the off stump, and he'd be in big trouble.
It's surprising that Shaheen Shah Afridi didn't create the rough unless he was bowling on the other end, bowling at the other end. Because that's why, but also with the South Africans bowling at Fawad Alam for that long yesterday, or choosing to go around the wicket, it should have created something for him.
Yeah.
But it's also probably too far out wide outside the off stump for him to engage the rough. Because the change in angle was we want to bowl into him, so they'd come from a wider angle.
I can also just let you know, it's unsurprisingly, this is Aiden Markram's slowest innings with a double-digit score. He's striking at just 26. Yeah, striker at just 26 at the moment.
Someone tell me, how do those T advertisers, T influencers get into the ground? Like how they?
I don't know if they're ground staff or journalists that are being paid, or that Big T just paid enough money to get a few spectators. And this one from Naman Ali is driven by Rassie van der Dussen, just makes it to the man on the square, who feigns a throw quite dramatically, keeping the morale up in the field, I suppose.
We've got tweets from Dave and Anis after this over, so just to let them know that we've got them on radar.
Naman Ali is still coming into Rassie van der Dussen through and around. This one stays quite low, just on that off-stump. Rassie van der Dussen's back in his crease and defends it up the pitch to the bowler for no run.
I've never been so happy to see Rassie's bat get onto that ball. That one had him trapped. If he missed that one, it would have been curtains. It's straightening with that angle.
But
again, it's Rassie van der Dussen again attacking the wickets. This one defends to the man at that catching short leg, and no run there. South Africa 83 for 1.
The spin of the pitch is very slow. If that was anything of a normal pace, he was definitely going to be LBW. It was so slow.
That one was quicker.
And again, just defended, really attacking the wickets here from Naman Ali, and Rassie van der Dussen keeping a level head, just defending them out.
I'd like to see Naman Ali's line be a little bit more off-stumpish if I'm putting my Pakistan hat on, to see if the ball can straighten and draw Rassie forward. So slightly shorter than that full length that he's bowling, and on off-stump to try and see if he can't bring Rassie forward. And he listens to me.
And he listens to you.
Yeah, maybe a little bit shorter, but still very much attacking the wickets here. Rassie van der Dussen able to play a similar shot, defending it back up the pitch.
It's not straightening as much as he'd like going on with the arm there, but something for Rassie to consider. If he keeps coming forward, he might engage that slip fielder there.
Final delivery of Naman Ali's 7th over, slightly down leg, hesitation there between the batsmen. I think that he's safe. They're going to go upstairs. Yeah, I think it was just Rassie van der Dussen who was in two minds. I feel like Aiden Markram ran pretty straight all the way through. We'll have another look. I thought he was safe. Aiden Markram has a grimace on his face. We'll have a look at the replay now.
But the person who pulled that one was Aiden. Oh, he's
yeah,
safe
quite
here.
safe. Safe by almost a meter, I'd say. Yeah,
okay,
I don't think Aiden hesitated. I think Aiden was straight through, but Rassie hesitated, which made it look a little more worrying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tweets while they do that. Anis Mohammed says, Cullinan averaged 53 in India, 54 in Sri Lanka. Saying he can't play spin is disingenuous. He couldn't play Warne, but who could in the 90s? Also, favorite cricketers, batters are Viv Richards and bowler Darren Gough. Thank you very much, Anis, for that. And then David Midgley replying to everyone saying, I don't disagree about the fact that most struggled against Warne and Murali. I just find it interesting. I find other interesting opinions on, then he says, I find it interesting. Then he says, find other interesting opinions on onewsr.com as Gorilla SA bring you alternative commentary. And then he also tweets, I don't like Daryl Cullinan. Why? And he tweeted a video clip of Daryl Cullinan saying, my issue is that cricket is inherently not a black man's game in South Africa, which is one of the reasons why he's not the most beloved man in South African cricket. And also made everyone wonder why the PCB went to go get Daryl Cullinan out of all of them, but maybe his record in Pakistan was one of the reasons why they picked him.
That's the end of that session. But
lovely session. Well done, South Africa.
Is that the end of the session? Oh yes, yeah. ST. That is good. Yeah, so South Africa are 84 for 1 at T. They are, I'm just trying to do some quick maths, how much they're behind by.
They're about 74.
Yes, and so Rassie van der Dussen on 17 of 80, Aiden Markram on 34 of 129, a very cautious innings by the South African pair there. And this partnership is worth 36 runs at a run rate of 1.39. Dean Algo was the only wicket to fall in that session. Caught Mohammad Rizwan off the bowling of Yasir Shah. It was a top edge that probably came off his glove. And a great catch from Mohammad Rizwan. South Africa is still behind the 8 ball, but they're fighting their way back, trying to give themselves every opportunity to win this game. I see Chris has gone off, but Tim, do you have any final words for the session? What did you think about
it? Good session, good hard-fought fighting test cricket, and hopefully it will continue after tea.
Yes, I hope so too. After tea, we will be back with a commentary team of Tim, Simon, and Chris. So please do join us for that. All our viewers on Facebook, Twitter, and not Instagram, on YouTube, we will end this broadcast, and the new broadcast will be started at when tea starts in 20 minutes. And you can just jump on that link, just look out for it on One World Sports Radio's YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to it and you'll get a notification when we go live. To our One World Sports Radio listeners on the radio or audio listeners, we will be playing 20 minutes of the women's first ODI, the Pakistan and South Africa women's first ODI in 2018, to just take you back a little and celebrate our women there. So from myself and Tim and Chris, who's gone, we'll see you on the other side. And Lesale Kakakis.